Cornwall is famous for its harbour towns, and Fowey is one of the most charming, but also one of the trickiest to get right. I'm going to show you around Fowey town with all the insider tips you'll want before you visit. Stick around because I'll share the best spots for views and how to avoid the biggest headaches. First up, let's talk parking, because it can make or break your day here. The biggest option is the main long stay car park at the top of Fowey. It's reliable and usually has space, but the walk back up is a seriously steep walk. We're not talking a gentle slope. This hill can end in tears if you're not ready for it. Down by the river, you've got Caffill car park near the Bodinnick Ferry and the Passage Lane car park. Both give you mostly flat walks into town, though they are on the longer side and include a few slopes. Ready Money car park is handy if you're heading to the beach or St Catherine's Castle, but from there it's also a longer walk into the centre with some uphill stretches on the way back. And then there's the Fowey Town Quay. Yes, it's the closest car park to the centre, but don't be fooled. We're talking about something like a dozen spaces at best. And it's only open in the winter months. On top of that, you have to drive through the town's narrow one-way system just to try your luck. Once you're in, there's no turning back. You'll be forced all the way through before you can loop back out. It's stressful, slow, and simply not worth the gamble. Facilities are decent once you're here. Toilets at the car parks and in the town, plus plenty of pubs and cafes to dive into, and the usual mix of local shops. Do note that some of the public toilets are seasonal, so outside of the main holiday months, you'll find fewer open. Accessibility is the biggest weakness. Most routes involve either a long walk or that brutally steep climb. If mobility is a concern, Caffill with the Riverside Walk is your best bet, but even then you'll need some stamina. Crowds depend entirely on when you come. In summer, like a lot of popular Cornwall towns, Fowey can feel packed to the point of being stressful. On a sunny August afternoon, the streets are heaving, cafes and pubs are full, and just finding a seat for food can be a struggle. As a local, I don't usually visit in the height of summer. I can come back any time, so I'd rather go in spring or autumn when it's calmer. If you're on holiday and limited for time, then of course summer is when you're likely to be here. And you'll still have a great experience, just be prepared for the chaos. And if you're used to large city crowds, you'll probably take it in your stride. But if you're hoping for a relaxing day and a quiet bite to eat, know that summer can test your patience. That atmosphere hits its peak during Fowey Regatta week in August. This is when the town absolutely comes alive. Sailing races, live music, parades, fireworks, and thousands of people fill in the streets. It's one of Cornwall's best known festivals, but be prepared, the crowds and parking are at their absolute worst. On the flip side, winter brings a lovely change of pace with a popular Christmas market and festive lights making the narrow streets glow. What really makes Fowey interesting is its position on the river. The water views are undeniably beautiful, but one frustration is that from the town itself, there are relatively few open vantage points. Most of the riverfront is lined with houses and buildings, which means that you often only catch glimpses of the water as you wander through the streets. Nice if you own one of those properties, but if you're just visiting, you might feel the views are more limited than you'd expect. If you're chasing the best views in Fowey, the main quay is your go-to, but bear in mind this is exactly where most visitors head. So it can be busy and you won't always get that peaceful moment to yourself. The truth is, you actually get a better perspective of Fowey by looking back at it from Ruin across the river. And that's a video I'll be making soon. For more scenery, head to Ready Money Cove and carry on to St Catherine's Castle for sweeping estuary views. Or walk up to the National Trust field above the town, which gives you one of the finest vantage points over the harbour mouth. These are the spots that really show Fowey at its best. There are plenty of things to do in Fowey. You can hop on a river cruise, kayak, or take a ferry across the estuary. The Ruin passenger ferry is a handy way to cross the river, but be aware it's very weather dependent and can get cancelled at short notice. By contrast, the Bodinnick car ferry runs most of the time and also takes foot passengers, so that's usually the more reliable option. The walk from Bodinnick round to Ruin though is a very serious trek, one for ramblers and people in good health. It's not a gentle stroll for families or pushchairs, but if you're up for it, it can make a rewarding circular route, Fowey to Bodinnick, along to Ruin, and then back across to Fowey by the ferry. There's also a seasonal Fowey to Mevagissey ferry, which makes for a brilliant day out if it's running, but again, it's very weather dependent and doesn't operate all year round. I've covered Mevagissey itself in another video, so check out the Cornwall Days Out Mevagissey Village if you want to see what's waiting for you on the other side. Families love crabbing from the quay. There's even a small aquarium right on the Town Quay itself. It's traditional, a bit old-fashioned, but kids usually enjoy it and it gives you a quick escape from the bustle outside. And if you're into books, Fowey has a strong connection to the Daphne du Maurier, who lived nearby. The Literacy Festival in May brings in authors and talks every year. Food and drink rarely disappoint. Expect proper Cornish pasties, cream teas, seafood and lively pubs overlooking the water. Prices are typical for Cornwall, not cheap, but fair for the setting. The pubs along the waterfront are especially atmospheric, though they do get packed at peak times. Family-wise, it's a mixed bag. Kids will love the boats, ice creams and the aquarium and ferries, but the steep hills and lack of open play areas make it less convenient for younger ones. Safety is generally very good. Fowey feels safe and welcoming day and night, but the traffic can bottleneck in the streets, so keep an eye out if you've got children or dogs. Speaking of dogs, most pubs and cafes are welcoming, but do check seasonal restrictions before heading to nearby beaches. One quick local tip, don't get caught out by the name. It's said like Fowey. The W and E are silent. Visitors often get it wrong, but the locals will notice if you get it right. Fowey isn't perfect, the parking's a headache, the hills are brutal, and the views aren't as open as you might expect. But once you know how to handle those challenges, you'll find a harbour town packed with character, history, and proper Cornish charm. It's one of those Cornwall towns that rewards you if you're prepared for its challenges. Tackle the steep hills, the parking battles, and the summer chaos, and you'll come away with proper Cornish memories that stick with you. Have you been to Fowey yourself? What did you think? Charming or too crowded? And if you've been to other harbour towns like St Ives or Mevagissey, how does Fowey compare for you? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Until next time, cheers you.